Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. What's going on? Happy New Year's Eve, December 23rd, 2025. The clock is definitely winding down or winding up, however you see it. It'll be Christmas in a blink. I hope you are enjoying this holiday season in any capacity you see fit. I feel like I haven't been at this table for a while. I don't know, maybe it hasn't been that long, but it feels like a while. So I was really excited to jump on today. I definitely wanted to just tap into the spirit of the vibes with my Nightmare Before Christmas cards while they're still seasonally relevant. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what we're going to use today. And I wasn't quite sure what Christmas Eve and, of course, Christmas will look like as far as jumping on. So I wanted to, get as close to the frequency as possible. But it's possible that I could jump on either one of those days. Maybe more Christmas than anything, but I also am not holding myself, hostage to it, to be honest with you, because I don't really know how the days are going to go. But in any event, I hope that you are celebrating this season in general of just renewal, rejuvenation, revival, like something fresh is definitely underway, no matter what you celebrate or what you don't. So when you have an intensified frequency of magic in the auric field collectively, you would want to kind of harness in on that energy as much as you possibly can and funnel it into, your own personal passions, whatever that may be. But that spirit of peace and cheer and benevolence and joy, love, dare I say, those are nutrients, more than nutrients, vital sources, vital resources, I guess I should say, that can go a long way, especially when you're approaching the remainder of winter. Or I guess I should say winter is just beginning. What today? Is it today or yesterday? It's the winter solstice. So whatever it is, here we are. You can never have too much sunshine, so you better get it while it lasts in this season. But I think it's going to be a really good one ahead. So anyway, I didn't do I shuffled, but I was intentional about not being distracted per se by a preview message because I just want to get straight into the cards. But I will say that what I did see continuously, even when I first opened the deck and then it kept popping out to make sure it was seen, was the Ace of Pentacles, which is the Ace of Gifts in this deck, which is really a peculiar card because it's interesting the layers of the meaning of the card, which often does come up, whenever I use this deck, which you can obviously imagine is not too often. But the characteristics, like the symbolism of that card is such that, it's a big gift, it's a great gift. But the depiction of it is something that could even like almost like a handle with care type of label because it could be challenging, it could be dangerous, not challenging or dangerous, but it's like, okay, I feel like I gotta say this now, this is interesting. I guess this is why it whatever it is, it's a doll that's like, I guess maybe I gotta find it. I kind of wanted to let it organically show itself if it was going to, but I feel a pull, a tug on that energy to just speak this, and then we'll move on. It's a doll. Honestly, it kind of looks like a voodoo doll. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because these cards, as the movie is, are a little bit on the freaky deaky side, the distorted side, based on the images in the movie. But it's the Ace of Gifts, which is it's like a big responsibility, um, a huge uh, bounty. I don't know, like that word is coming up, and it's like it's a major blessing and blessing all the same. It's just that, like, and maybe it's this, in the wrong hands, it can be a dangerous thing to manage. Maybe it can even be um it could be like, how can I say, like mesmerizing or possessive, or like the say, okay, how I can practicalize it, I can mysticalize it too, even in the way of it being an actual voodoo doll, because it's like in the wrong hands, energy such as that can bite back literally, because in the movie the doll, as I'm going to show you at this point, comes to life and starts terrorizing the kids that she was gifted to. So it's like that there's a certain level of power and magic that is being passed down or dispersed by way of a big gift, or an a really big proposition or proposal or opportunity or something of that nature, but it bears a great deal of responsibility. Now, in the hands of the one who is prepared to receive, who is assigned to this gift, who is, associated deeply with the magic behind this moment of opportunity, or this moment of grace, whatever it is, this provision, whatever it is, um, it won't be a detriment to them. It won't even be a burden. It gets to be the blessing it's designed to be, because it will be in the hands of someone that ultimately is assigned to it, that is in alignment with it, that has prepared themselves to receive it, to manage it, to multiply it, perhaps, to, here it is, Ace of Presents, this is it, to use it wisely and productively, even prosperously. There's a very fine line when you're being passed down gifts from the so-called divine. And I say so-called because of the card, not because I don't believe that. But, projections of the aces are divine gifts, or divine provision, something bigger than you, maybe even miraculous or above and beyond what you either have explanation for or had anticipation for. But like I said, in the wrong hands, it can be, um, it can be, it can be, what's the right word? Like, not just a threat or detrimental, but like it can be dangerous. Ultimately, is what I'm trying to get to. Is like handling explosives. When people play in dark energy work, that they are not particularly aligned, initiated even to expel, they all is when they often find themselves in sticky situations, and in possessive contracts and agreements that they can't see themselves outside of, or when they play with different energies and calling in spirits and vibrations and frequencies and rituals, or um, practices, maybe practitioners, but practices that they have not properly been um, ordained to indulge in or work with. And even if you have and you use it against the, more or less against the universal law in which it's enshrouded, you put yourself in a line of danger ultimately. So that's on like a mystical, spiritual wavelength. But this could also be like a position where, is that what I saw? What was it? I kind of lost track of what I heard on the practical side going into the mystical. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I don't need to go there. I'm always trying to bring it back down to earth. But maybe this is what it is. Perhaps it makes sense. It's a magical time. Basically, let's say it like this: that people are or people that are trying to force an anointing or an identity upon themselves that is foreign, or a facade, um, even costume, or superimposed. As my phone lights up at 6:14, it's dangerous work. It's dangerous work to do such things. Like, and then of course still to even use things that you are ordained by, or you are a part of your lineage or a part of your belief system, to some ulterior motive that is not in alignment with the practice of that super natural gift or assistance, access, uh, again, anointing, whatever it is. Like, you can honestly anger that energy to turn on you, or turn off the grace that is connected to it, in a way that puts you in a position to then ultimately be chastised, be judged, perhaps ridiculed, maybe even condemned in some way, shape, or form, or to condemn self on certain accounts. And it's like, why even go there? You know what I mean? Like, everybody just stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. You know what I'm saying? Like, stay out of people's shit. Find your own identity. Align yourself with your own ancestral inheritances and trust and bloodline transferences and so on and so forth. Like, I was just telling my son just now, because he has a different experience with music than I do, because I grew up in the church for a much longer time than the short time he spent. And so we've been talking about singing lately. Every night, we always, it is what it is. But anyway, long story short, I was talking to him about the difference in how you sing, like from your diaphragm always, but the belting power singing that is one thing, versus more like your falsetto. So I was demonstrating the difference, and then I was telling him, like, yeah, you come from you got it honest to be able to. You come from a lineage of powerful singers, as far back as I know. Especially anybody that was living in my lifetime was always quite a versatile singer, but powerful always at the forefront. And it's like, let's see, what was that? The Five of Potions, the Lovers, and the King of Candles, which is the King of Wands. But I was saying, like, not to say that you have to follow it directly in the footsteps of your predecessors or ancestors, or what's always been done, because there's a different box to check for that as well in terms of evolving. But to know the stock that you come from, and to know, like, certain gifts and certain abilities and certain transferences of energy are just innate to you, is a different brand of confidence. Say, as he is growing in his practicing of singing, and his, like, growing into what his voice and his sound is to be, it's important to know that you already have the blood work for the chops from way, 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 way back. Not even just directly from mom, which obviously, but even way, way farther back than either of us know, probably, or will ever know. And that carries a certain type of protection, a certain type of grace, a certain type of advancement and progressiveness that almost appears to be like effortless in your expression. I'm talking about singing, but transferable to anything that we're talking about, especially spiritual anointing. You know, like certain working in that capacity where you have an ordinance to walk in certain frequencies or in certain places. You have dominion over certain dimensions, if not all, especially in the physical sense, you know. So it's like you have to know that you have that type of clearance, let's say, per se. You certainly not, definitely not in this season can are going to be permitted to hijack those clearances and mount them on yourself as innate without there being great, as I was saying, like bringing great difficulty and challenge to yourself, almost immediately, like karmic retribution almost immediately for almost the thought of doing such things anymore in this season, because that's all being cleansed and cleaned out. Like if you can't find it authentically within your own passion, what's innate to your bloodline or your legacy, or even what you have been ordained to pioneer, you know, it must be authentic nonetheless. It just must be. And back to that Ace of Pentacles, it's a blessing that is weighted. It's not a burden and it's not heavy, because those are more negative connotations, but it does have weight because there's responsibility attached for it. It's for your prosperity, but it's also to prosper the legacy that has entrusted you with this, you know, great fortune, or fortitude, and also for whom you get to lay some groundwork to then pass it on to yet again to just keep it going, you know, like that's so important. So it's like if everybody, again, not even trying to be smart, but like if everybody would just stay in their lane, if everybody was doing that thing according to their pathway, literally, internally, externally, then what an amazing experience of life it could all be. Really and truly, like nobody has to be left out, you know, from the spirit of abundance in that regard. But anyway, so we got the Five of Potions, which is weird because we got the Five of Potions, then we got the Lovers and the Knight of... I don't like the Five of Potions. Like, what is that about? What type of sadness is going on with the King of Presents? That's on the bottom here. With the King of Presents. So somebody that... I mean, the Knight of... I mean, the King... I'm sorry, that is the King, right? Yeah, the King of Candles... All right, so if I channel this from the movie perspective, because it's kind of weird for these cards to have plopped out together. The Five of Pentacles, I mean, I'm sorry, the Five of Potions with these two just feels off-putting. But if I channel it from the messages in the card, this is when they actually finally came together. But in the movie, Jack had his head so far up his ass most of the time, he didn't even realize how devoted Sally was, not just to his cause, you know, and protective even of his cause and his mission to be this, you know, crossover Pumpkin King to Santa Claus, whatever, like to really just define himself, to find his way back to himself in a peaceful state. She was there kind of holding space for that and supporting where she could. But like I said, a lot of times he was so deep into his emotional self, his emotional bag, that he wasn't even really recognizing it. He was kind of disregarding her at times, maybe picking her up every now and again when he needed her to do something, or, you know, or her energy was available. But ultimately he was so fixated, I guess I could even say with this Knight of this King, I keep calling it a knight. There's a reason for that. That maybe that's what this is given. Because I got to remember these cards kind of have the adverse energy. So I'm pulling on the energy of the Lovers in the most high light frequency. But maybe this is something dark for a reason. Because it's like somebody, you know, what I'm seeing, and again, from the movie, it's like, I keep saying the Knight of Wands, and it's almost as if somebody might have been a knight in a king's body. Like they were older, you know, had grown in years, but there could have been some lack of maturity there in terms of their emotional stability and their choices. Like there's some type of distortion here with choices. And like I said, from the movie, it's like the good thing that was right in front of him whole time that ended up and would have probably brought him some peace and settlement to his unrest is what he kind of discarded. Like, oh no, like looking past that, like, oh no, I gotta be Santa Claus. You know, like these lofty ambitions that really didn't do the job to ultimately soothe his unrest or his insecurities. There it is, his insecurities, is which is what guided him to this Santa Christmas Town takeover. So there's something about that here, you know, where some type of recognition here of somebody that, but I don't know at what point this is. Like, are we talking about the past? Are we talking about now? After having the whole soliloquy on the Ace of Presents, how does that align? I'm not sure yet. So let's see. Because I want to say like somebody fumbling, you know, in the movie they brought it back and they united in the end ultimately, but I'm not sure of such happy endings, you know, in the spirit that I'm feeling it, which is, you know, somebody pretty much like seeing a gift, back to that Ace of Presents, and overlooking it for like something, because they're restlessly looking for something bigger or better, more fancy, more interesting, more exciting, more what's the right word, like that feeling of more alluring, like, there's something else I want to get to, but anyway, and ultimately looking to scratch an itch that could never really be scratched by the means that they were looking to do so, because it all came back down to insecurities. So it's like having a big gift, which Jack did, at your fingertips. He had the whole town at his fingertips, but fumbling on account of never being satisfied. And why? Because what you're trying to satisfy yourself with and what you are trying to satisfy are not aligned to remedy one another. You know, like you're not going to satisfy emotional unrest or insecurity with more, you know, with unbridled passion. That's not what it's not. It may be a good distraction. It may even be, you know, help you to blow off steam or take a load off, but that unrest will still be there in the shadows, waiting to be, I don't know, like whatever, like whatever, it just there, whether you acknowledge it or not. But especially when you start to tell yourself, well, I'm doing this to remedy that. You know, it could even be somebody getting lost in partnerships that they knew weren't necessarily of their highest good, or that would yield them, you know, would support them in their maturity or progression in life. You know what I mean? But it might have been a good time. You know, it might have been, again, exciting, alluring, seductive is a word that I'm hearing. And you know, time has proven, or is yet to, that they've been more like, some have just been idolizing the wrong treasures. ultimately, is what it comes down to. They see the good and the bad, and the bad and the good, or whatever. Yeah, here's the magician. Yeah, exactly. Just manipulating energy for material results, you know. But very, what's the right word? Like mechanical is what I'm feeling. Like very mechanical, as my phone's going off at 6:29. Just do like just doing stuff to do stuff to get stuff or whatever the outcome, the intended outcome, but just not with a lot of and here comes back to like handling gifts with care, because we could be talking about someone that is highly what's the right word, like attractive. Yeah, especially with the king of candles, the lovers. Ooh, and then the five of, yo, I'm so sorry. All this time I've been saying that this is the five of potions. No wonder it didn't make sense, because it's not. It's the six of potions. So this is past lover. But do not disregard anything I said about the five, because there's a reason. I swear to God, I saw a Roman numeral 5 there. But do not disregard that, because the six of cups, right? Yeah, is like this is the six of cups, which is about something from the past, or yeah. So it could, and I said I don't know if this is past or present. Well, that would have told me if I realized it was the six of cups. So this is something that's from like a past decision or contract or agreement, proposition, maybe even a marriage, a commitment for sure that somebody's made to, oh God. And as I'm seeing the feminine Sally covered up now on the Lover's card, and I'm looking at these magicians, which are the witches. I'm just going to channel how I feel this. It's like the mask is coming off on who someone chose as the so-called better option, or things. It might not even be singular. It could be things that someone aligned themselves with, maybe even a lifestyle that now is like the facade is completely melting away. There's no more beer goggles, no more rose-colored glasses. It's like this is like you turn over one morning and realize like this is who you're laying next to. No more glamour spells, no more, love magic, blood magic, whatever the hell, especially with this six of potions, like whatever, spiritual manipulation, emotional manipulation, gaslighting, love bombing, like all of that. It's like as if somebody woke up and all of that energy was completely dissipated, and all that was left next to them, maybe in their bed, around their, it's like somebody being glamored into a lifestyle that they thought was high value. It even looks the part, happy wife, happy life, maybe nuclear family, maybe not, big kid, big house, nice cars, dope careers or lifestyles, whatever it is that's been pumped up and glamorized. Maybe even for the public eye, this could even be that as well, like some type of public facade that's completely crumbling. But I feel an emphasis on this masculine character here that we started with. And the reason why I probably saw the 5 and it looks like, and now I realize it's the 6, is because it might be an aspect of their emotional state that they're trying to hide, or that they're trying not to let on that they actually, are aware of. Like he's still got a smile on his face, a stitched grin, but it's like maybe they're trying not to alert their partner to what they see, how the scales have fallen from their eyes and what they see, whether it is trying to play stupid, dumb, unaware, or maybe plot their escape, before she's not any the wiser, or it could be an outward facade that someone is keeping up about what it is that they're waking up to, whether it's physically waking up or psychologically or spiritually waking up to, like, oh my God, this is who I married. This is who I've been committed to for all this time. This is who I went into business with. This is who I've been sleeping with. This is who I've been trusting. And then this is that. This is who you've been trusting. The magician here. This is somebody that has, first of all, they have the side that they're presenting to you, but then their true selves is like split in two in a very imbalanced way, as it's depicted here. Like somebody's not there, like somebody and it could be, here we go back to mishandling gifts. It could be their psyche is all disrupted because they've been dabbing and dibbling in things that are not, that they don't have clearance to do so, or just the sheer, to keep up the glamorization or keep up the facade of being one person but you're really somebody else, because witchcraft happens in the magical ways and in the mundane, like it could just be lying about who you are and everything that you're presenting that is a spell. And here someone is like completely stripped down to their true form. Like somebody's glamour magic is what you call it, like deactivated. I don't know what you, broken. This spell is broken. They're looking like they're coming undone and uncracked, like maybe looking a little on the bipolar side or having some type of mental or emotional challenge. They look menacing, and it could also be representative of the spirit of which they've been creating from, manifesting from. Like somebody thought they found them a powerhouse to their dynamic, and ultimately they found somebody that was just pump faking. Like cosplaying as a divine feminine, or as a high value woman or high value man, or a spiritual force field, or a highly developed witch, or skilled practitioner, or a high priestess, or whatever the fuck, some type of guru in manifestation. And ultimately it was really just cosplay. Somebody was drawing more energy from whomever they were alluring to their lair, more or less, than they were actually conjuring in their own capacity. Like they were actually feeding off of the energy. Let's say this is the energy of like the Jezebel type spirit that has been alluring to the divine masculine in some ways too, and in a more basic sense, general sense, I guess I should say, that came up poison ultimately, a real hard lesson to the face, if nothing else. And here is what they really want for it, when they made the choices that they made way back when it looked good, it looked like a sure thing, a sure shot, or just something more, intriguing or fascinating to go with, only for it to come down to what it is. So I don't know. Let's see. Try to get a few more on the board. But like I said, in many cases, it's not the happily ever after of the movie. People are really finding themselves stuck in commitments with people that they are terrified of, horrified to be around, devastated to wake up to, hate to come home to, don't want to do nothing with unless it's about getting money. For the most part, barely want to even be intimate. Can't even stand the sight of, yeah, oh my gosh, it's the Three of Pentacles. It flew clear across the damn room. Heartbroken. The Three of Needles. This is the Three of Swords. Devastated by their choice. And total regret, at a total loss for why they allowed themselves to fumble, or if not fumble, misunderstand an Ace of Pentacles by way of the Ace of Gifts in exchange for this. This was the exchange right here. This Three of Needles. And for some, that's their own gifts on account of who they've associated with. That's contracts that would be prosperous, whether it's platonic, intimate, professional, creative, whatever. Relationships or contracts that were slated to be fulfilled have been forfeited and, exchanged for this heartbreaking energy where it's just like nothing is fulfilling, nothing is satisfying. This is just one new disappointment to the next. So it feels, so it seems like one cycle of disappointment to the next, all on account of this original choice here, a decision, a choice that was made in a distorted light is what I'm getting, because it was like, and by someone who was choosing out of their lust, because remember I kept seeing this as the Knight of Candles, which is the Knight of Wands, but it's really the King. But it's somebody that maybe had a great deal of power and attraction and force in their arsenal. Here it is again, in their arsenal, embodied in their force field to manage. Here it is, those gifts. This is where it comes out practically. They had all of the passion, too much passion, to be contained almost. So much ambition, so much drive, so much, determination, and so focused and fixated. But also there was also that there had to have been that pleasure seeking aspect as well, given I keep seeing the Knight of Wands, that hadn't yet been wielded into consciousness, in a productive sense and in a way that is protective, and that wouldn't ultimately, remember, as I said, wouldn't backfire and get you in trouble. Like somebody had a lot of power, and they had a lot of leverage to wield that power really in any way that they wanted to. And there was a choice that was made to double up on that power, so they thought, because they thought they saw an advantage to be in a position to have even more than what they embodied themselves. But in a sense, their intentions and the connections and again the choices that were made to do that, to double up, so to speak, at least, let's say, because probably even more than that. What was I gonna say? Like ultimately the consequence of that ambition was ultimately having tied yourself to something that was doing the opposite of what you thought you were going to do, what you thought was going to be prospering and elevating and advancing and expanding, and something that was going to really juice you up, ultimately ended up being someone or something that was just completely sucking you dry, like literally sucking the life out of someone before they could realize it. Like I said, just waking up to what they really have devoted themselves to just now, like not long ago, if not just now, but not long ago, like the full scope of like, damn, this is what I really, attached myself to, when I could have had that over there. Somebody that claimed to be, the golden ticket, that wasn't nothing but a piece of damn pissy paper. Shit. Passive harassment again. Oh my God. It's here. It's here again. This was the exchange rate. Oh my gosh. It's like somebody was like, "Come, I got all you need. I got that and some. Like, and we could do it in half the time together." That sounded too good to pass up to a King of Wands with a Knight of Wands libido. Just want to go and consume and create and absorb and with no type of thought about the path they're singeing in their travels, or on their rampage, so to speak, or their escapades. It sounds more like it than rampage. Oh man, somebody has been completely heartbroken, and they got nobody to blame but themselves. It's like they're heartbroken that this is what they got, like this is what they've gotten out the deal of all of their commitment to some dynamic. But if they feel like it was false advertisement, like they were somehow duped or tricked or misled, or they were said it was going to be something, and maybe they were, but at the same time, it's like, again, as the King of Wands, with the power of the Lovers to choose wisely, that the onus is on you to have really done your due diligence, check the label, maybe read the reviews, like read the room, like whatever it was that could have given someone foresight to say, nah, I'm good, like, nah, this ain't it. I think I already got what I need, or this ain't it, or what, I'm still looking, or whatever the case. They just jumped 2 feet into something that was ultimately a pit. Let me get a few more and then we're going to close it up, because I feel like I'm kind of all over the place, to be honest. But we got the 4 of Candles. Yeah, well, somebody's in need of some type of recovery. Right? No, that's the 4 of Wands. No, I mean, that's the 4 of Swords. This is the 4 of Wands. So this is the 4 of Wands. That means, or it could even be in someone's home. And it's like, look at that. Is that the energy you would want in your home? I told you, it's somebody that don't want to come. They feel like it's demons at that house. And she's conjuring them up when he goes to work. They be sitting there waiting for her with the light on, like Motel 6. At the door, before he can kick his shoes off, starting an argument, some type of confrontation, or the house is dirty, ain't no food, or she got attitude, or what. It's like these are the demons that are living in a, they're residing in a space where someone ultimately feels stuck. It's like all that is attached to her true nature, all sides of her true nature, all have resident demons, and they just chilling around the fireplace waiting for some fresh meat to walk through the door. Oh my God. Somebody's living in a cursed home. They need an exorcist. They need a priest. They need a freaking some sage. And Palo Santo ain't even. It's like lighting a match in the energy that I'm feeling. Ain't nothing clearing that out. Matter of fact, just burn the whole house down. Damn. Oh no, is there a kid? Here's the Page of Cups. Page of Potions. Oh no, don't tell me they got a baby up in this. Or that's the thing. That could be the reason why somebody feels stuck. There's either some baby or some investment here that requires both or all hands on deck. Like it's a very involved investment or entangling investment that needs a lot of nurturing, a lot of attention, a lot of time. But it's emotionally draining is what I'm getting. Whatever it is, like it's emotionally draining. It's almost never something that feels like it's having a peaceful settlement or outcome. It's like always something chaotic or something unrested about whatever this is. Like two people have stuck, attached to each other on account of something that they have to babysit. Maybe babysit some type of investment or business interest, or I don't know, whatever the hell, but is shit. Like the baby here with the damn demons too. So it's like all of this is damned. It's all damned at this point. You just gonna have to. I don't even know. This is terrible. I don't know what type of read. I think I'm gonna try to come back again. Somebody is not having a very Merry Christmas. I tell you that. Oh. The Knight of Needles, which you see who that is, right? And I picked it up out of my lap. I'm gonna keep it upright so it can just be seen. But the fact of the matter is that it don't matter what, if it was upright or reversed, because the fact that I just said what I said, and then that's the energy. Forget what the card is, which is the Knight of Needles. That's the devil. And it's like something, oh no, I just heard Rosemary's Baby. Like, whatever this thing is, whether it's an actual kid or, like I said, some type of like common interest, investment, contract, entanglement, like whatever's been born from this union is damned and doomed. And I'm so sorry. But you got the Four of Candles, which is all the vampires over here holding candles like they in some type of secret society or pledging situation. Then you got the Knight of Needles, who's not even a king, not even a leader in the court, really. Just pretty much a step or two above the common folk, the peasants. but being depicted here in a very sinister way, all sandwiched in on this baby. So it's like either, it's the type, like I said, it's the type of contract binding that you're never meant to get out of unless you're going to be willing to breach it. Like default on whatever this is, breach it, break it. It's never going to be fulfilled in the terms that have been written and agreed upon. It's like being in a relationship and you think, okay, well maybe if I just keep investing in it, maybe if I work on me, or I'm more patient with her or him or whatever, you could never invest enough into a partnership in this frequency for it to ever turn around. It's always going to be exactly what it is, if not worse. It's like being in a partnership with somebody who, you know, takes pleasure in creating misery and causing chaos and causing confusion, unrest, and disturbing the peace and being chaotic. Like that's where they thrive, that's who they are, that's what they do, that's what they love. And if that's not what you love and what you do and how you thrive, then somebody is pretty much going to be doomed to try to stay in that situation for any longer than what they absolutely have to. It comes to a point where ultimately will just drag somebody to hell, where they begin to be possessed by, and maybe this is kind of what happened, why people have been so caught up in situations that have been evidently toxic for a very long time, but they kept building, they kept making concessions, making provision, making excuses, making more money, or whatever, like making more love, or not really love, but having more sex and building more business arrangements and creating more contracts, whatever. But nothing, like I was saying before, this um six of potions, when I was saying it was a five, it's like nothing you do in that frequency of like overstimulation or over creativity or like grinding, hustling, whatever the case may be, like just getting it, is going to ever satisfy whatever is void in the spiritual, in the psychological, or in the emotional sense on either side. And like I said, it's like somebody that probably thought they were making that choice for a real Ace of Pentacles way back when it looked all good. But there were signs. There were signs. Nobody gets a pass here because there were signs. I'm seeing that there were signs. Like I said, that toy in the Ace of Pentacles, it's like, would you give that to a child? If you really look at it, yeah, it says Ace of Presents, Ace of Pentacles, but would you trust your child with that toy, or trust that, I don't, like, yeah, like, would you trust your child in the presence of that thing without having more information about why it looks like that? Like, there were signs, but someone made their decision strongly and continue to double down on that decision by continuous investment, relentless investment, to the point where now, when you can't not see the things that maybe you turned a blind eye to before, not only is it disturbing optively, optically, but it's actually disturbing someone's peace, someone's well-being. Like I said, coming home to a home full of negative energy, whether it be embodied in people or just the spirit that follows somebody home, is no way to live intentionally, voluntarily. but what someone is willing to do to relieve themselves before, it completely overtakes them is like, I think it remains to be seen. I don't know. I don't see it here. That's for sure. I see this baby, like every time somebody try to, that type of baby situation where every time you put them down, they start crying. You got to pick up and start all over to get them back to sleep, like a demon baby. Not really, not like in a natural sense, because every mom has that moment. But I'm talking about this energy over here is like something unnatural. Something unnatural has been birthed, has been created, and it is tormenting the atmosphere or the environment that it's been born into. It's great for, as the descendant of whatever spirit it, was sent from, or is made of, but for the purposes of anything peaceful, positive, productive, it ain't never going to be that. It wasn't created in that. It wasn't birthed in that or produced in that, and it hasn't been nurtured in that. So that could even be somebody in a practical sense awakening to someone's motherhood, or their domestic qualities or lack thereof, or their qualities of as a divine partner or as a partner at all, like as a proper partner in anything. And they're realizing that it's just not there. It's just not there. And guess what? It ain't never going to be there. It doesn't exist. Somebody ain't on that, and they ain't trying to be on that, and they are not inspired by whomever might wish it could actually get there. They don't care. It's like, I'm getting to, like, now that I got you, where are you going? You ain't going nowhere. And they may be doing the hocus pocus in the background, if they have any left, to support that initiative. And whatever else isn't done, this is like this baby, this attachment here, that's this thing that's locked in, locking them in, is handling the rest. The light work, I guess, or I don't know. I don't even know. This is crazy. King of Needles, oh my God. That's the King of Swords. And look, he's in his wheelchair, still thinking he's the smartest one in the room, but incapacitated in so many functions, whether he realizes it or not. Completely dependent, submissive to, how this character was. Like, he was just so engulfed in his own harebrained schemes as like a mad scientist that, like, it was just kind of like, I don't know, he was kind of annoying. Like, he did serve a purpose in terms of helping to support Jack's adventure. So it's like he has a great deal of value and skill, and there's value here, but he also, like, outsmarted himself a lot too, or outmaneuvered himself in a lot of ways, because he thought he would, like how he thought he had control over Sally, like he had her in her place, but she always kind of like wiggled out of his his maneuvers before he realized it, before he was any wiser to it. So I don't know. It's something about the King of Needles, like thinking maybe they're calling themselves thinking their way out of this predicament, or thinking that they know best on how to release themselves in some type of clever, ingenious type of way. But it's something that's being called for that's so simple and practical. But it's the thing that most people wouldn't want to have to yield to if they can get around it. And that's the truth. Just telling the truth, being the truth, speaking the truth, revealing the truth, affirming the truth, certainly dispelling all lies and misunderstandings with the truth. like that's what it all comes down to. But somebody wouldn't want to admit to themselves that they chose wrong. They wouldn't want to take accountability for their reckless actions. They don't want to face that they ultimately have been duped or played, because that's too much to bear, but they can't help but face it because they can see it, it's burning their eye sockets every day in every way. They may not want to admit that they're kind of heartbroken about the predicament they put themselves in and the entanglements that have come along with it that might be scary, that might be downright scary to consider, like, this is what I've signed up for God knows how long. Maybe the whole lifespan of a child, actually. That I'm tied to this baby mama or baby daddy for 18 years. And this is what I'm going to be dragged through the whole time. But I don't know, but they trying to figure out a way to smooth slide themselves, or thought they had a clever way to kind of stay above the fray, to kind of be unaffected. Page of Candles. But look at this shit. You see what I'm saying? It's like they thought, every time they thought they had every demon figured out, or think that they have every demon cornered, or they can more or less like anticipate somebody going off the deep end or this or that. It's like they pull another one out of their back pocket. Like, I ain't even never seen that demon before. Where did that come from? Somebody got demons for days. Like, they got multiple personalities and they all diabolical. It might not be but a spark of light left in somebody in all the different aspects of their personality. And this is like somebody's trying to figure their way around this dynamic, trying to come out unscathed perhaps, or figure out a way to relieve themselves without, like, almost slip out without being noticed. But that ain't happening, especially if there is some type of tie or binding that must be resolved, if it even can be resolved. But if not, it's still like somebody is got their tentacles into someone. Like, they think that they're 10 steps ahead and got one foot out the door, but somebody in all of their multi-personality glory, one of them personalities always corners that move or blocks that move before it can even really manifest effectively. So it's like the way someone's still trying to strategically maneuver through a reality or a situation or whatever this is never going to do for them what would ultimately be the most freeing in the way of telling the truth, or just being honest about where you are, maybe being honest about the fact that you don't want to be here, and taking all of whatever comes with that. It's like somebody's trying to avoid the backlash or avoid any repercussions or any disturbances, but it's inevitable. Like, nobody's leaving quietly in this case, or without any bruise or infraction, because this is just the nature of the dynamic. It's not built to be peaceful. It's not built to be reasonable. It's not built to be graceful. It's never going to be that. So the only way out is probably going to be a little bit disturbing, disruptive, maybe a little bit chaotic. But by God, you know what I'm saying? Like, the only other alternative is to keep playing this game and lying to yourself, believing that one day either it's going to change for the better or in your favor, or you have it all under control and this is how it's supposed to be, or any minute now you're going to flip this, whatever it is you could possibly tell yourself. You'll be outsmarted. This person will be outsmarting themselves to believe it to be true, psyching themselves out, while ultimately all of these influences and energies are just going to be feasting on their presence whole time, on their discontentment, on their fears, on their insecurities, their ego, their traumas. That's the other thing with the Three of Needles, like their traumas. It's just going to be a big ass smorgasbord until there's nothing left but bones. And hell, they might chomp on those too. I don't know. I don't freaking know. I don't even know what this is, to be honest. This is either a relationship, a coven, an association, a friend group, a family dynamic, frenemies. They can't be no real friends with all of this dark ass energy that I'm sensing. Definitely emphasis on some type of relationship, and maybe even some associations, that relationship being the center of some bigger association, or associated with something bigger, but very much so its own entity. Emphasis on entity. But when it all comes down to it, it's like, yeah, like that Ace of Pentacles that looked like a big, a big shiny gift, a big, cool, a nice plaything, was really not a game. It wasn't a game. Somebody, whatever it was, like they rolled some high stakes for what they thought would be great rewards or great return, and that Ace of Presents, as is depicted in this deck, either bit them in the ass or is biting them in the ass. It's like, you're not my owner. You're not my owner. You're not my kid. You're not my whatever. Like, you don't belong. I don't belong to you. You don't belong to me. And it's immediate retaliation, or what's it called? Like, not retaliation. Damn, I can't think of the word. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. And I don't know why this message was so dark on a day like today. Like, I guess, like I said, some people are not having a very Merry Christmas. But I am. And I hope you are too. So far, so good, which is why I was trying to really, release something in the ethers for, in the spirit of this season. Happy birthday, Capricorns, by the way. Happy birthday season to you. But yeah, and that could be a reversal too. I know I spoke much of it on the masculine and to uh, the feminine um, side, but it could flip flop, whatever the case may be. Somebody is not it's not a merry and bright um, season for them. But for those that saw Ace of Pentacles for what it was, handled it with care, maybe saw some um, wooden nickels that you thought were an Ace of Pentacles, and you said, no, thank you, I'll wait, even though it seemed like it would have been a good deal just for now, or a hard one to pass up. You said, nah, I think I'm waiting for something a bit more golden. I need something a little more real, authentic, lasting, sustainable, like something whole. And you didn't settle for the just enough or good for now or good enough. Um, there's a different experience of peace and gratitude, especially reflecting in the past of where you could have been the one to say yes to something that was, I mean, a glaring, blaring no. That's the biggest gift ever, to be reflective at this point in time, which I'm sure on the other side a lot of people are, and considering like maybe just within this last year some opportunities that may have been passed up, or what do you call it, passed on, you know, that now you could potentially be able to see how it all played out, or how those that may have been a yes ultimately ended up faring in the end, or just feeling good enough at this point in your life now to just be grateful for what is, like the fact that it's not that, or it's not what you would have said yes to, or something much better, hopefully, but anyway, it definitely is a season to be grateful no matter what, because it could always be worse. Even to this energy that might feel themselves a bit stuck in the choices that they've made, there's always an opportunity to relieve yourself honestly and honorably. And it might not be pretty, it might not be quiet, but there's always an exit when it comes to such things, um, as like a toiling with your spirit, or in your spirit with something that's dark and possessive, that doesn't feel natural and that feels confining. Nobody has to stay there for any longer than they have the consciousness to declare otherwise, so people that are still in chaotic situations or traumatic and toxic situations have to, at this point, just, might as well just settle in with the fact that that's what you want, that you want to be there. You have to. That's just what it is now. You want to be there, so you might as well just lock in. Otherwise, it only takes a moment to proclaim something true and something different than what you may be experiencing in real time, and to have it be so, like to say this is what it is or what you desire it to be, and then allow the universe to give you the opportunities to manifest that. And as I said, it sometimes is at heartbreaking consequences or results, but it will still be worth it in the long run to be released in some capacity than to be completely consumed in something that is not at all desirable or ideal. Not at all. So anyway, I don't know. That was kind of weird for me, but I'm gonna leave it there. Oh my goodness, 114 on this? No way. This wasn't that important to be an hour and 14 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Not to be anyway, because it's like, like once again, like, why do we care? We do, but we don't. Like it's like if this isn't if this doesn't pertain to me directly and it doesn't resonate in terms of where I am on this board, like I'm more on the side of like, whew, wiping the sweat from my brow. Thank God I didn't choose X, Y, and Z, or I didn't keep going in that direction, or I made this choice when I did. Like that's where I'm at, reflecting on things that I've done that have ultimately kept me out of entanglements that could still be ongoing to this day. So, you know, I don't really need to know what's going on the opposite end of that spectrum. Not really. I mean, it's kind of intriguing to some point, but at the end of the day, like, who cares? Like, maybe it was just enough for me to really be clear on that part, like to say out loud, like, I don't care. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, God bless you and everything, and Godspeed, best wishes to you indeed, bars, but I don't care. Mm-mm. So, anyway, again, Merry Christmas Eve. If I feel guided, I'll jump on tomorrow or on Christmas Day. But honestly, if not, I'll see y'all probably on the 26th or something like that. If that, to be honest, like I'm just gonna soak up peace and relaxation for the rest of this year if I can. And yeah, I'll see you before the new year for sure. But I'm just saying, I'm telling you what type of time I'm on, and it's not on no type of hasty grind at all. I'm just not. So, and I pray the same for you. Not gonna lie, like it's nothing to run off and rush off and try to do in this season that won't get done in the timing that it needs to. So don't put any extra pressure on yourself other than what, is necessary to get things done in a natural order, without too much force or resistance. All right. Everything is with ease in this season. That's my gift to you. Receive it. And I'll try to regift it to myself and remember it when I get eager as well. But anyway, thank you again for listening and watching. Enjoy your holiday. If I do not check in with you before then or on then, really, really do enjoy yourself and all that you love dearly in your midst. And I'll see you soon. I really will. I know I will. As always, I'll leave you with peace.